Hi, this is Tom Kane, the voice of Jedi Master Yoda. And this is Inside the Force. Listen, you will. Foreseen it I have, yes.
It is a period of Star Wars mania. As new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
And welcome back Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here with Casey Cooley.
Hello, everybody.
And we are cranking it back out just several days after our full review of Star Wars: The Force Awakens. I know you guys were asking for it for a little while because holidays and my illness.
Yeah,
and of course
now
you can hear his.
I'm
you got sick though,
smoking
really,
for 30 years. No, I don't feel bad at all. Like I just all of a sudden I went hiking Natural Bridge this past weekend.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if that did anything, and we had a campfire later, so I don't know if that like. Literally, the smoke did get to me. I don't know. But so, like, literally, suddenly my voice just left for 2 solid days, and now it's just not getting back.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. It's good. You know, I know you contacted me a couple days and you were like, man, I just don't know if I can.
Can't make a sound with my voice.
All right. So, what we're going to be doing, with the movie out now, obviously, there's a lot of opportunities to talk about it. Rebels isn't quite back yet. I think it's coming back January 20th.
Yep.
So we'll start reviewing that when it comes back on. We do got to catch up on some comics to do some reviews there. So we'll be doing that probably obviously next week for sure. I'm going to gather up what we kind of missed this weekend.
Right.
But the big thing now is really over the next, I'm sure we're going to do over the next several shows, get a lot more opinions of the movie.
Yeah.
Especially there's guys out there I definitely want to talk to Cody, your buddy Cody Geiler for one.
Yeah, I've got some other friends that I want to bring in.
We'll get probably Chad and Russ's opinion. Although you can hear we did kind of a roundtable video that I'm posting with the three of us, so we are full reviews and everything about that. But other guys kind of outside in the family, but definitely Harold, literal because he's got some bad opinions about the movie. But one much opinion that I value for especially movies, we don't always see eye to eye on some Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to bring him on and hear what he has to say about Star Wars: The Force Awakens. And that's our good buddy, Mat Raney. What's up, Rains?
Sup, guys?
Hey.
Sup?
Long distance calling. Here we are.
I'm back.
Yeah.
You
got to pretend that I'm there.
Oh, well, yeah.
You just blew it.
Wow.
Jeez.
The audio
the
clearly doesn't sound like when you're
Everybody
here, so.
thought that I was there, and then you blew it.
Idiot. Gosh.
God.
Jeez. Take 2.
So how's it going, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's it actually I think it was colder in California than it was in a lot of the country for a little bit, and then it's been raining. Like it's been raining like crazy, but now,
good,
which is weird.
We need the rain. But now things are balancing back out, like the Force. Things are balanced. It's you guys are freezing your butts off, and I'm good. So
freezing.
Everything is as it should be. So I'm feeling better.
So first off, Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you guys.
Thank you.
Off to a great start. I feel like this year, everybody. The country and nearly the world is still raving over what is now the number one domestic movie in the world.
Still smashing records,
still going. I think just now.
By the end of the weekend, it'll be the first $800 million dollar domestic. Not adjusted for inflation, but
correct.
Still, that's a lot of tickets.
It's a lot, a lot of viewings is what that is, because it does seem like. Everybody I know that has seen it has seen it multiple times,
right?
And that's what it takes to get those kind of records is
absolutely
your repeat viewers and your sustained viewership. But of course, Casey and I just our last episode gave our full review and breakdown of the. I mean, we really broke down the movie.
There's still things we can talk about,
absolutely, which I'm sure we're getting into. But Rains, let's get into your viewings.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen the movie?
So I've only seen it twice. I'm a bad fan, but I am going back a third time. But I mean, a lot of my friends out here are screenwriters and producers and directors and all that sort of stuff. And so, like there's a lot of stuff to see. So I still haven't seen Hateful Eight yet. I want to see that. I want to see The Revenant, got to go see that. But the first time I saw it, I felt really lucky. So one of the other authors from my critique group, Brad Gottfried, his debut novel just came out, Forever for a Year. Super great guy, great storyteller. He got tickets for a midnight showing on that Thursday in Hollywood, ArcLight Hollywood. So went there. It was crazy. I mean, although it was actually kind of weird, like, LA is very different from part to town that you go to, as you guys know, haven't been there before. But for whatever reason, that night, ArcLight Hollywood was kind of like goth LA for whatever reason. Like everybody was in black, except for me and Brad, who looked like, we had jeans and like dorky jackets on. I mean, there was no costumes really, but everyone was like in black Star Wars gear. And they had all kinds of like displays set up. I think I took a picture next to Captain Phasma. They had the actual Captain Phasma suit was there that night, which was cool. Yeah, they had all kinds of stuff. I can't remember all the different outfits, but they had some classic outfits, and then a lot from the new one, the new movie were there, which was really cool. And like everybody was gathered around taking pictures and stuff like that. So I did take a nap earlier in the day so that I could make it through the midnight show. That's what happens when you get over 35. I mean, it just chemically, you just can't do the midnight shows anymore. But, we did it. And, if you haven't ever seen a movie in LA, it's kind of cool. People still clap. They wait till the end of the credits and they watch for their friends' names to show up, as like second key grip or whatever, and then clap for them and all that kind of thing. But anytime you go to a movie with a storyteller, it's one of those things where immediately after the movie, you start in on the discussion and you start in on the story breakdown, which is a little bit douchey, I guess, but it's kind of just the way that it is. So, me and Brad, we checked it out. I got to say, I enjoyed it the first time around. I think my expectations, when something's at like 3% Rotten Tomatoes,
right?
And I mean, people were singing its praises and like, JJ's done it, that sort of thing. I think my expectations were kind of through the roof. But nevertheless, really for about the first, 30 or 45 minutes, I was really, really into it. I thought they did a great job with the two new characters, Finn and Rey. I thought they did an excellent job. And I mean, as far as the state of cinema goes in America, the number one movie of all time, the two leads are a woman and a black gentleman. And that's amazing. Yeah. I mean, that's coming a long, long way, I think, for American cinema. So I think, I think that's something that we should be proud of, just as Americans in general, that we're moving in the right direction and, with diversity in film. And it wasn't even like a thing in the movie. Like It was just, here's these two characters and they were great. So I thought that they were one of the best parts of the film.
But they were British.
Yeah.
True. But J.J. Abrams, not right. British.
Right.
But Star Wars has always cast a lot of British folks. I mean, other than
I'm not saying that British is bad.
There's nothing wrong with that.
You're saying British is bad. Do we have any British listeners? You're saying British is bad.
I'm sure we have some British listeners, so I'm just saying.
I was just talking about diversity, and then you going back to the Brits like that. God. But no, it was. I thought that was great. I really thought when Harrison Ford showed up, I mean, it really took it to the next level. I mean, the guy's just so charismatic, and like he was Han Solo.
Yeah.
You know, again, like he just slipped right back into the Han Solo character. You know, so you know, in terms of like what were my issues, if I had any, well, still on the good side, I also really appreciated that they kind of they diverged from the whole midichlorian nonsense. You know, which I mean. The Force was like magical again, which I thought was really important. And so I thought that was amazing. And I was really glad that they did that. But, you know, the biggest things were that, you know, and I know a lot of people have talked about the fact that the movie is somewhat beat for beat for New Hope. I personally don't have a huge problem with that because what I imagine is, you know, Disney buys this product for $4 billion, which is a lot. And they know that the Star Wars community, a lot of the Star Wars community anyway, felt a bit burned by the prequels. You know, not everybody. I think some people love the prequels, and I'm okay with them. But a lot of people do not like them, you know.
Sure.
And so I think they're sitting around looking at each other and say, well, the one thing we cannot do is make a bad movie. Like, we've got to make something that we know the Star Wars fans want. So, yeah, I think they had to please the fans. And I think that changes what kind of risks you can take. But now that they've won all the fans back, you know, by and large for the majority, I think they're more free to take a lot more risks in the next movie. So, you know, for them, I mean, not only are they looking at what will surely be $2 billion at least, you know, box office globally, but you know they're now looking at you know being able to be have a little bit more artistic license as they go forward, which I think is awesome. But they just couldn't do a bad movie, so you know model it on the first maybe most beloved of all the movies and introduce some new characters and go from there. And I'm okay with that. But one beat that definitely missed for me and that I was actually even a little bit troubled by. The first one was when the Star Killer eliminates the Republic. You know, and I guess that's sort of like, you know, well, we're upping the stakes. You know, if in Star Wars they blew up a planet, you know, now we're going to blow up a system. And, you know, it shoots the big laser and, you know, it breaks into a few bits and you see all the planets, you know, erupt and that sort of thing. But there was literally, I mean, billions of people and the established government for the, you know, the galaxy has just been wiped out. And like the very next line, you know, Finn runs up to Han Solo and he's like, "Oh, the First Order did it. Where's Rey?" Yeah. And it was just sort of like, okay, let's go find Rey. You know, I mean, and not that, you know, finding your friend, it wouldn't be very important even in the midst of a cataclysm, but, you know, billions of people are dead. And, you know, when they run up and meet, you know, Poe Dameron, you know, he's like, "Hey, you're wearing my jacket. Looks good on you. Good to see you, buddy. Hey, BB-8, woo!" Like billions of people just died. I mean, like billions. The government is gone. Yeah, you know, and there was just not that. And to me, that's just a. You know, they were just sort of like, well, how can we crank up the stakes on the story? Well, you know, we'll blow up this system. Well, you know, in the first Star Wars, what I think was really brilliant is not only did you get Princess Leia's reaction to the destruction of Alderaan, and she was, you know, distraught and terrified. Obi-Wan, you know, is like, you know, he almost passes out, you know, and he delivers that great line about, you know, 1,000 voices crying out and then silenced. You know, it's like, oh, really? And then when they're flying there, they fly through the debris of Alderaan, and they like, you know, they talk about, man, a planet just got blown up. You know, so I think there was a lot of, you know, dread built up around that moment. Whereas in this one, like once that's done, then they're sort of like, well, I guess we're next, so we got to go stop them. But there's just no discussion about, you know, the fact that billions of people just got wiped out, and the government is history. So, I that took me out of the story the first time. I think it kind of depersonalized it a little bit. And then the next. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's stay there for a second, because you told me that the other day, and I was. It was interesting because I had not thought of it like that at first. Because, to be honest, I think even after the first couple times that I watched it, I don't know if I fully grasped what really happened in that scene. Because, I'm obviously so well versed, I feel like, in the Star Wars universe, that I was questioning, well, that's not the Republic. The Republic's on Coruscant.
Right. And
it's not really until you really research and find out what the state of the government is at 30 years after Return of the Jedi, and how the New Republic reestablished themselves, and who the Chancellor is, because I'm sure 70% of the people out there that watched the movie couldn't even tell you who the Chancellor is, even though he's prominent on the screen. So at first I remember a couple times I'm like, so they destroyed a planet or a couple planets and wiped out some politicians, but not realizing that the entire Senate is on that one of those systems. The entire Armada is housed on one of those systems,
right?
So it's like, wow, now I'm understanding the gravity of the situation. And you're right, even when Leia shows up shortly after that battle, it's like Han is still thinking about just seeing his son. They're not even sweating it. They're not even sweating the end of the government. I totally agree with you there. Honestly, now that you bring that up, but here's another thing that we talked about today, Rains. I wanted to kind of get your opinion on. Now Casey's better at saying the planet that Maz is on.
Takodana.
Takodana. Okay, so Takodana is the planet that they're on, where Maz's temple is, right?
Yeah.
So the Hosnian system, Hosnian system is what got destroyed, where the Republic is now. According to the map that has been put out, that is canon, those two systems are pretty far away.
Yeah.
How are they seeing this destruction in the sky?
Yeah, this is my guess. This is just my guess, and I could be completely wrong. I would wager to say that at one point in the script, they were going to blow up another planet or something like that. One planet, and it might have been the planet with the Senate on, or whatever. Or they were going to target just the Rebel base again, or whatever.
Right.
And then someone was like, it needs to be bigger, and they're like, well, they'll blow up a system. And then they probably said a little bit about the exact same thing that we're talking about now. Well, how are they going to emotionally react to this? Well, they'll see it in the sky. And someone's like, but it's light years away. Well, no one will,
No one will think about that.
Yeah, no one will even notice. And, I think even still, if you would have had, Leia has the Force, and granted, they kind of use that moment for when Han dies.
Right.
Spoiler alert. Sorry, anyone who didn't see that.
That time has passed.
Yeah. So, they kind of use that moment for then, but I mean, she could have been devastated. I think the celebratory mood of the resistance, and I guess that's another, the whole bifurcation of, you've got the Republic, and the Republic has a fleet. So why is there a resistance that's separate from the Republic?
Well, I can answer that.
I'm sure there is a reason, but like,
yeah, but it's not in the movie though. Yeah. It's not in the movie. I mean, there's a ton of that we've come to realize doing our research and reading these books that have been out, that backstory, kind of a lot of this stuff. I mean, there's so much backstory that you just don't get hardly any of that in the movie. I think the only backstory you really get is Kylo Ren. That's that's the only backstory you still don't really know what happened between Han and Leia. I mean, yes, his son but there's still more there.
Yeah.
What really happened, with Luke? And I mean, there's so many questions still, in my opinion, which is fine. I mean, I think hopefully those get answered maybe in the coming movies or in other mediums that we enjoy reading or watching. So, but yeah, I think, because it was funny because if you watch it's about an hour and a half, but the little round table, we made a video and a podcast, me, Russ, and Chad, and they're asking a lot of those questions, and I'm answering them because I'm like, okay, you guys, I did my review. You guys throw them at me. What do you got? And then, there's all kinds of questions. And one really big one I want, before you tell me your next one, Rains, one big one that I think you'll appreciate that Chad had, which I have not heard from any other person. I haven't read anything, this kind of complaint. But his one big gripe of the movie was that when he heard 3 years ago that we were getting Star Wars Episode 7, when 2 years ago we got the first cast picture where it shows Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Anthony Daniels, Mark Hamill, Peter Mayhew, all he wanted, he's like, I'm gonna see Han, Luke, and Leia on screen together.
Oh, yeah.
And you're never going to get that now.
Yeah.
Unless Han can be a Force ghost.
Oh my God.
I don't know if that's possible.
But he said, I was really hurt by that. I was hoping for a last adventure with the three of them, and I didn't get it. And it didn't, he goes, ultimately I understand the movie and I get it, but that's what I was hoping for and I didn't get it. So.
And I think that's, I can see that. I would have loved to have had that as well. But,
sure.
At the same point, this is a new adventure for new heroes. And I'm okay with that too. I
agree. I agree. But I just haven't heard that. I didn't hear that from anybody besides him.
Who knows how much we're even going to see Leia in the next couple movies.
I agree.
I think very little.
I say very little.
Mm-hmm. I think you're going to get a lot of Luke. And that's going to be, at least in the second movie.
Better
who knows in the third movie. But he's Yoda, right? So, I think you'll at least get a Yoda amount of him in the second movie. I
hope you get more than that because I think Yoda, the one thing we could never get really a Yoda is Yoda kind of fighting back. And I think Luke is going to do a lot of fighting back.
Well, unless you count the spinning buzzsaw lightsaber fight scene with Count Dooku,
Well, I'm talking about the original trilogy when we first got Yoda.
Yeah.
When everybody saw Yoda, obviously the first thing you think of is how can this guy be a Jedi? But
I will say this. When we were watching, where was I living? I think I was in graduate school in Orlando when Attack of the Clones came out. And went and saw it at the theater there, and they had a nice theater nearby, and so I went and saw it. And the audience is just sort of like, it was Attack of the Clones, right? Like there was the love story or whatever, and
sure,
but then when Yoda came out at the end and kicked a lot of ass, I will say that the theater really appreciated the moment.
I agree.
Whatever hate people might have, they really liked that part. So,
but what a scary moment though. Before you're like, oh my God, I hope they do this right, because there was opportunities there to really destroy the vision of Yoda. So, but anyway, go ahead. So, I know you had something else to.
Well, so here's the other thing, and so at the beginning, I really was digging Kylo Ren. Like, when he force tortures Poe Dameron, that was pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we'd ever really seen that
before.
Never. He was a bit more emotionally unstable. Like, he whacks at things with his lightsaber. I thought that was all really cool. He orders the destruction of this entire village. He force stops a laser blast. That was super cool. I was like, they had me at that point. Like, when he force stopped the laser blast and they just kind of walk by it, that was one of the coolest things I'd seen in any Star Wars movie. That was amazing. And then you find out, wow, he wiped out. He's Han Solo's son, trained by Luke Skywalker. He wipes out all the Jedi apprentices. Maybe he even defeats Luke. I don't know. Yeah. We can't really tell, but he wiped out a lot of other Jedi trainees. Mm-hmm. And then, he does get shot by a laser blast. He did just kill his father. Mm-hmm. So, maybe he's in a weakened state, I guess. But I kind of have a thing about him losing a fight in the first film when I'm assuming anyway, he is going to be a villain to reckon with in the second and third film. When you think about Darth Vader in the first Star Wars movie, Vader kills Obi-Wan Kenobi. In the second movie, he captures Han Solo and freezes him in carbonite, then kicks the crap out of Luke. It's not really until the third movie that we even start to see any chinks in the armor. He's like this invincible bad guy, and he goes into the third one, and then Luke has to fight him and the Emperor together. That's super scary. Now with Kylo Ren, it's sort of like, bring him back. We need to finish his training. I don't know. He was hurt. That's fine. And one thought that I had maybe would be that I wonder if Rey tapped into the dark side when she was fighting Kylo Ren, because she seems to kind of get angry. She looks like she's on the verge of killing him before the ground rips apart and they're split up. That might, if she's very powerful in the Force regardless, but she taps into the dark side, that's an interesting angle they could have explore, because really, if you think about it, Anakin being separated from his mother at such a late age, was really part of the cause for him moving towards the dark side. He comes back and his mom gets killed, and he kills all the Tusken Raiders, and that's the start of his descent, I guess. She was separated from her parents and felt abandoned, and maybe she's got a lot of those feelings as well, that make her very susceptible to falling to the dark side. And just like Luke did also, except Luke passed his crucible and ends up, of course, becoming the ultimate Jedi, I guess. But, but I just wasn't satisfied with Kylo Ren losing that battle so quickly as a villain. Like, if he's going to be a great villain, I would want him to seem a little bit more frightening up to that point in the film, because not only does he lose, he kind of gets the crap kicked out of him once Rey kind of turns it on. So, but I will say this, for young people, I think, seeing their hero tap into the Force and become powerful, I think that was really cool for them. And so I guess in summation, the second time I went and saw the movie, I saw it with my sister and my brother-in-law and my 4 nephews and my mom. And I was sitting next to my 9-year-old nephew, and he loved it. Like, this is his favorite Star Wars thing ever. And he was scared during the scary parts, and he was excited during the exciting parts. And, that's who the movie's for. It's not for, know-it-all novelists who think that they've got everything in story figured out and,
guilty.
It's not. It's for the kids who just still get swept away in the magic of the whole thing, and he totally did. So, I enjoyed it so much more the second time, just because, I was watching it with the kids, and they thought it was amazing, and so I got caught up in that as well and enjoyed it very much more the second time. So we'll see how I like it the third time. I am planning on a third time, so we'll see how that goes.
One thing I'll throw in too, 'cause I totally agree about the whole kind of like almost like a flawed villain, so to speak, of Kylo Ren. One thing I've heard Abrams say a couple times when asked about Kylo's story is that that not only is this going to be a trilogy showing you the evolution of a hero of Rey, that's also going to show you the evolution of a villain and showing you how basically somebody can become a true villain. In addition to how someone and when I see it through that way, I can understand, why you're correct. Yeah, that Kyle gets, he gets hurt by Finn, he gets hurt several times by Rey, and gets his face slashed by Rey, all that kind of stuff. Because he's not there yet, I guess is the only way I can connect it all. Because he does need to complete his training to become that well established, impending villain that Vader was in Star Wars. So
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm a-okay with that.
Right,
Where
but
the
you don't get that
inconsistencies hit me though is that he already wiped out all the other Jedi trainees,
right,
and he force stopped a laser blast. Like,
right.
We've never seen anyone do that.
Yeah.
Like, not even Darth Vader did that when Han Solo shot at him. He kind of deflected it off of his armor, but he didn't force stop a laser blast. So it's like, because I would agree with you. Hey, if we're going to see the evolution of this villain, that's great.
Yeah.
But you can't make him seem all powerful, and then all of a sudden he's not.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's. I guess you've got to be consistent in your story physics or whatever, the rules of that world.
Right.
But again, I like the idea that you were just discussing, Casey. I think it's really cool to see the evolution of a villain over the trilogy also. And I do think, I mean, Rian Johnson, I thought Looper was one of the best science fiction movies I'd ever seen. And I still do. I own it. I enjoy watching it. I think he's super talented. They say that the script is amazing. So, I think mission accomplished for Force Awakens. They got the fans back. It was a super fun adventure. They introduced two amazing new characters. I think we're set up for a wild ride in the second one. And now I think they do have the freedom to be a little bit more artistically daring, to make some story choices that might surprise us. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, it's just really unfortunate that we don't get this kind of supplemental information about the movie, like why these characters are the certain way, like Kylo Ren. But because also a cool thing about Rey, how you were speculating that she was dabbling with the dark side a bit in that fight. She kind of actually was a little bit. In the book novelization, it's said that when she's kind of sparring with Kylo and locked in sabers with him, when he's telling her like, I'll teach you ways of the dark side, and then she kind of gets him on the ground. She hears a voice say, "Kill him," basically. And
interesting.
Yeah, and it's like it's so easy. And she was like, "It'd be so easy. I can kill him right now." And I think the book even goes as far as to say that is Snoke talking to her.
It is.
And
already trying to tempt her as a new apprentice.
Exactly. And that's why he wants Ren to bring her to him. But again, that's such a cool information, and I get why we couldn't get all of that in the movie, maybe. But it's unfortunate that we didn't get that information, because I think it just makes it feel more personal and more impactful.
Well, and more believable.
Right.
Like if all of a sudden she starts overwhelming him with this anger.
Right.
And, she hears that voice. I think that could have been really cool. And maybe it was in one edit and they just, trimmed it out for whatever reason.
It could be easily done, yeah.
But I think that would have probably solved that whole problem for me, to be honest with you.
So a couple things then. Talk to me about your feelings on Han's departure.
I thought it was one of the best scenes in the whole film, and it was really one of the scenes where they did get that emotional impact. I thought kind of right. I mean, the characters felt the pain. The pain resonated through the Force with Leia. You saw the pain in Kylo Ren's face and the impact that it had on him as he went and fought in the woods. and I was okay with it. You know, I mean, in a way, Han Solo was Obi-Wan. You know, I mean, he was that father figure sort of character, and you know, kind of knowing Obi-Wan's story and then watching him fall to Anakin in New Hope, it is a little bit more emotionally impactful knowing his backstory.
Absolutely.
You know, and so I think the same for Han Solo, and you know, I thought it was great. Yeah. Great scene.
Yeah, I'm still, and I've said this 100 times. For me though, I think it was a good Star Wars moment, to be honest. But I don't feel like it was the best JJ moment. Like, I think he's so good at those moments. And just to throw out there a couple of the ones was like, you know, the beginning of the Star Trek movie that he did with, you know, Kirk's father, the scene in Into Darkness with Kirk and Spock, you know. Yep. I think of Super 8. There's a couple of good emotional moments in there. I mean, I don't know. We talked about it the night before the movie, how me and Casey, how are we going to see a J.J. Abrams movie? Right. Are there going to be those J.J. moments? I feel like we didn't get really a J.J. moment. I feel like he shot a Star Wars movie, and I feel like that you can see his camera movements, obviously his shooting technique, but I don't know. I think some of the emotional moments weren't there for me, anyway.
You know, and listen, I mean, I don't know. Like, me criticizing J.J. Abrams is like, you know.
I'm not criticizing him at all.
And Ant, you know, mocking an elephant or whatever. I mean, the guy's made so many successful movies. However, if I were to, I actually don't think. I think he is a really, really talented filmmaker and storyteller. I don't know that his emotional moments always hit for me, though. So I actually thought we did get a J.J. Abrams movie, and I thought that's what it felt like to me was a J.J. Abrams movie. Granted, a J.J. Abrams Star Wars movie, but it felt like a J.J. Abrams movie. You know, he does use a lot of coincidence. Which is not a bad thing. I think Steven Spielberg uses a lot of coincidence, you know, people running into each other at the right time, you know, because that's kinetic and it's fun and it's not a bad, but that's the kind of thing he does, you know. I mean, you know, and to take an example like Super 8, I thought maybe one of his best emotional moments, period, ever, when the two leads of that film are watching the Super 8 and talking about his mother in his bedroom. Absolutely. That's a killer moment. I thought it was the best moment of the whole movie. I mentioned that in one of our shows too. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't feel like we got that. On the flip side, though, to me, the end of the movie with the alien and everything, not emotionally resonant at all. And you know, that's going to be different for different people, but like, to me, I like, you know. But the part, but what part are you talking about? Yeah, maybe the alien, but the part where the necklace flies out and he's looking at his mom, that's emotional. I mean, I thought Super 8 was 2/3 of a great movie. And we could probably go into a whole other thing about really quick, the alien's problem. Just from a storytelling perspective, the alien's problem should have more closely mirrored the boy's problem. You know, the alien is trying to get back home, but the boy is trying to let go. And so it's like when he helps the alien get home, like, to me, it's like there wasn't that ultimate connection. The circle didn't really get complete. So, you know, so they had to tack on the necklace, and so it felt tacked on to me. Like, whereas, you know, if the alien, you know, let's say the alien has, and I'm totally making this up off the top of my head, but he's a little bit more Genie-esque in that, you know, he has powers over the space-time continuum or whatever, which is part of his travel. And the boy could use that to, you know, zap back to when his mother was alive. So he could have his mother, or he has to allow the alien to use that so that the alien can escape and get back home. Like that's a little bit more of like a perfect intersection of the two needs, where the boy has to let go in order for the alien to get home. So it just felt a little bit imperfect. And I would say the same for the Star Trek, the Into Darkness. I thought they got it. I thought they got a couple of great emotional moments right when Spock's mom dies in
the first one.
The first one. I thought they really did a great job.
I
but
agree.
the reversal of the Kirk Spock thing at the end, like first of all, having the tribble and having the line where you're like, look, this tribble can regenerate dead cells or whatever. It's like Kirk's death never felt valid. Like everybody knew they were going to get the blood to, regenerate, the Captain Kirk. Like it was like, whereas in Wrath of Khan, when Spock died, he was dead. Like no one knew there was going to be a Star Trek 3 where he, comes back to life on the planet Genesis. He was dead. And like, that was, that's real. Like that movie could have been nominated for an Academy Award, I think. Star Trek 2 Wrath of Khan. It's the best Star Trek movie ever. And that scene makes it happen because, man, he was dead. Like, but in Into Darkness, like he wasn't dead. You knew he was coming back to life. It was a fake moment.
But I still don't. I agree with you, but I still don't think it takes away from. And yes, I do give. I think I sound like I'm giving a lot of credit to just JJ in those moments, but a lot of those moments are the actors. I mean, I think, and to me, I mean, I know I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, that scene with Han and Kylo was great," and he touched his face. But to me, I know I think it missed a little bit. I don't think the acting. I mean, it was good acting, but I think there could have been more. I think there could have been more in that scene that I was going for, and I definitely felt Chewie yelling. Like that was a good part. The Ray and Finn, I would have done without seeing them kind of react honestly, because I think it should have been more about them on that bridge, and I think JJ just missed it there a little bit. I think just for me in a way, because like I said, because it was the Into Darkness was actually on just the other day, and I watched that scene again with the end. And yes, even though Kirk is definitely going to come back, if not in the end of that movie, definitely the next one. But just the way they interacted through the glass, and you can see Spock for 2 full movies just not be emotional, and all of a sudden, what great acting, by Zach Quinto there. I mean, it's just, and then I'm a huge fan of Chris Pines, but I think there was a moment there that I think JJ hit it right on there, and then with the help of the actors. But anyway, I just think I
am going to say I think Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner took him to school.
Well,
in Wrath of Khan.
It was
I
pretty
am
good.
talking about William Shatner. I know that he's not like, I guess he was like the Keanu Reeves of the early the early 80s, late 70s, but he nailed it in that one. He got it.
Yeah. Well, I think the new guys nailed it too.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I don't know, just what a great line when he's like, "Do you know why I saved you?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Because we're friends." It's like, it's freaking.
Here's a question: are we going to get in trouble for talking about Star Trek on a Star Wars podcast?
No.
I'm just saying,
we're talking about Abrams.
Yeah.
Are the other bloggers going to like shun you guys now that you've done that? It could happen.
Maybe.
Neither of you have slipped and said that you liked Star Trek better than Star Wars, though.
Oh my God, no.
Dave, you got close, though. I think you were saying the Star Trek moments were better than the Star Wars.
Well, I really only like the new Star Trek movies, and it's only mainly because of JJ.
Yeah.
So one thing that I think a lot of people were starting to be surprised about as the movie got closer was the lack of Luke Skywalker. Did that ever cross your mind?
Yeah, I can really see what Chad is talking about, because I think in my mind, I kind of saw it as being a big group adventure, with the new characters and the old ones kind of going on an adventure together. That's kind of what I thought we were going to get.
Well,
and we didn't, and I mean, that's fine.
And in the first script, that's probably what we were going to get.
Yeah. Michael
Arndt's script was more Luke Skywalker centric. So,
but hopefully we're going to get, I mean, we'll see what Luke's going to do in this next one. I mean, I hope it's a lot. I mean, and I'm with you. I mean, I am at least expecting a Yoda amount, but I'm also hoping that it's more. I hope that he kind of goes back into the world and,
Well, surely he felt the destruction of all those lives.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how he was directed, but he certainly looked pained.
Yes.
He looked pained when Rey found him.
I agree.
And when she was handing him the saber, and I thought that was a great scene because I don't think she was handing him the saber saying, train me. I think she was kind of like handing him the saber like, yeah, get back in the fight,
I agree.
man. So
exactly. That's actually
I thought that was pretty cool. A great scene to end the movie. But does he take it? Does he need some convincing?
Well, no, he pulls his green lightsaber out. Like, I got one.
Yeah.
Yeah, with my robot hand.
Yeah. Now, did you see what was in that scene as well? In the two showings?
In the scene at the end?
Yes.
Did I see what? I might have seen it. I might not. What do you mean?
The tombstone he's standing next to.
Oh, I didn't read it, but this would be my guess.
Well, you can't read it, but just the fact that there is a headstone. He's standing next to a headstone.
And my guess is that it would be his wife, because I'm going to buy into the theory that Rey's his daughter.
Totally.
I'm going to buy into that. Yeah. So
I really think after the fourth time, it took honestly the fourth time. I really, really paid attention to that scene.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what they're saying in that scene. I get the sense that they're saying it, Father, I'm here.
Yeah.
And I'm your, I maybe not they're saying it to themselves, but I'm just saying it just seems like in that scene it's like the family is together.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think that's what Luke's reaction is, if not Rey's. That Luke is saying like either he's thinking the girl that my daughter who I've been trying to keep hidden away from this is pulled into it, and I'm just disappointed. Or not disappointed, but I'm just really saddened by this fact. Or, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, I guess, really, that he's just this girl that he tried to distance.
But see, I'm kind of on the fence. I've been actually on the fence a little bit that I'm not even sure. I've had the thought, I'm not even sure Luke knows he had a daughter.
Yeah, that's my other option, was that he thought that she was dead.
I could buy that, too, because, I mean, in the flashback scene where the spaceship takes off and she's there on the planet.
Yeah.
She's old enough to remember what her parents' faces look like.
I agree.
I mean, it's not like she's going to forget that Luke Skywalker was her dad.
Correct.
So that was kind of weird. And the way she would respond when they talked about Luke Skywalker, she was very much like, the myth of Luke Skywalker too.
Yeah.
She was kind of like, so yeah, something's there, but I still think she's his daughter.
I agree.
I'm going to go
totally agree with you. Because I think he probably does know, but there's that whole, if you're talking about maybe some echoing, Vader never knew he had kids out there. Mm-hmm. He knew he was going to have a kid, but he thought that the kid died. No idea, until several months after the Death Star destroyed that he found out he had a son. And then he didn't even know he had a daughter until 4 years after that. You know what I mean? So
that's why.
Although interestingly, before the prequels came out, it is sort of like he knew that Luke was his son the whole time originally. He didn't know that there was Leia.
You mean even in A New Hope?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's true.
I don't know.
I don't think. Because if you think about it, I guess you didn't know, but you had to know. I mean, you knew Luke's age was around 18, 19 years old. That for all that time, I mean, it's not insinuated at all that he knew he had kids and that they may have been gone or lost.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I don't know. Like, I feel like I feel like if you had just the original, New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi, I feel like like when I would watch those, he knew the whole time. That's what I always thought, is that he knew the whole time. It was only when the prequels came out that they kind of injected that he didn't know either. Now, it was clear that he didn't know that Leia was there.
No, but
because his specific line is Obi-Wan was wise to hide
from
her
it.
From her, not Luke, which is interesting. Not that it has any bearing on what Luke and Rey's relationship would be. I'm just saying that.
But I understand what you're saying. I do think the original scene, I do think in Empire he knows, and he does know. Yeah. I mean, he does know in Empire because there's that 3-year gap that he has found out. Right. So, so when the Emperor kind of finds out and is calling him and telling him, like, Vader already knows.
Right.
But yeah, I'm with you. But I think a New Hope, I think maybe he started suspecting right after, like, okay, this kid, something else is
that's powerful.
And then that's the cool thing though, Reigns, is that with everything that's canon now, the comics that have been released, they have shown how he finds out about Luke Skywalker.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. And I have not read the comics.
And and what's the coolest part, and if you want me to tell you, I'll tell you, is the person that actually finds out and tells him.
Well, let it rip.
So spoilers out there, people that I don't know if we've talked about it specifically yet or not.
I don't think we have.
Okay. Well, he hires somebody to go find out who it is, and it's Boba Fett.
Oh, so Boba Fett is the one who kind of learns the secret.
Well, he just knows that the name is Luke Skywalker.
Yes, he doesn't know. He doesn't know they're related, obviously. But he shows up. It's fun. It's awesome because Vader's standing on his executor, and Boba Fett has a battle with him at
Obi-Wan's
hut.
Yeah,
actually on Tatooine. And then he finds out the name, shows up with Vader and says, "I got the name of the guy, the rebel who destroyed the Death Star." And he says Skywalker.
Yeah.
Oh, and he doesn't say Luke; he just says Skywalker.
Yeah.
And Vader, you can see it clench his fist, and then the glass starts cracking.
Yeah. And Boba Fett's all right.
Boba Fett just turns around and walks away.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm out of here.
Sort of like the two stormtroopers when Kylo Ren is going off.
And I want to say that it took place just about 5 to 6 months after New Hope. Quick. So Vader knew about 2.5 years leading up to Empire before they actually battled each other. That he had a son out there. So, okay,
and a legitimate kid.
Yeah.
Man, dang.
So I think he had that anger for Obi-Wan this whole time. Obviously, he knew he hit him, but so kind of to summarize what you're saying, was there anything? Because I asked the guys this too. Like, was there anything that you were surprised about at all in the movie?
I think
either good or bad.
Well, I don't know if surprised would be the right word. I definitely enjoyed the new characters. I really do. They may have been the best part of the movie. I mean, they were just so full of life, and they gave great performances.
Especially
and their characters were easy to root for.
Mm-hmm.
I actually liked his the least out of the new three. I didn't dislike his. I liked. I probably liked Rey the most, and Finn right after. I thought they just had a great chemistry on screen, which is good because hopefully they'll have a lot more scenes together as the movies go on. But I think I suspected about halfway through that they might kill Han, but I really wasn't sure that they were going to go all the way through with it.
Right. Until
it was happening. But I suspected that they might. And then when it happened, I wouldn't say I found it shocking necessarily, but it was bold, you know. I mean, to kill such a beloved character.
Totally.
And then, like I said, I was totally surprised that Kylo Ren lost that first battle. I was very surprised by that, and you know, but I mean, the trilogy isn't done yet. You know, it might all make sense. You know, when everything is said and done. So, you know, I didn't love that moment now, but you know, after the next movie, I could be like, that was genius. You know, so
I was surprised. I was surprised how much I liked and enjoyed Maz, the character Maz Kanata, Kanata or something. I really enjoyed her scenes. I felt like she was.
Where's my boyfriend?
Yes, I thought she was fantastic. You know, because kind of the only solely CG character in the movie,
pretty much.
besides Snoke, but we didn't really see him, you know, directly. But I really felt, you know, I felt like she was kind of the Yoda in the movie.
Yeah, I think she was there to kind of fill that role.
Well, I think we're going to get more of her. I think she's going to be.
I don't know. I don't know if we will or not, because she was already supposed to have more scenes in the first movie, and she got cut. The character got cut. She was supposed to travel with them,
right?
And didn't. And you know, to be honest with you, I could live without her character. Like, if she never showed back up in any of the other movies, you know, I wouldn't miss her. She wasn't, you know, by any means Jar Jar Binks, but you know, I just kind of found like, hey, you know, she was the guardian of the lightsaber. She gave the lightsaber. Okay, you know, if we didn't see her again, I wouldn't be heartbroken.
Yeah, because the scene that's so prominent in the trailer was her handing a lightsaber over to Leia.
Yeah, which that all got cut out. I did think, like, I mean, Captain Phasma was pretty useless.
Right.
I mean. Totally. And so that kind of goes back to my whole like villains weren't at the beginning. Kylo Ren was super dominant. Like, you know, like I said, I've said it. You know, he stopped the Force blast. You know, he killed all the Jedis. He tortured Poe Dameron. Like, he was looking like invincible. You know, and then he kind of crumbles. And then Captain Phasma literally only gets kidnapped by a stormtrooper and made to turn off the shields for an entire planet. Like. I mean, I would think she would get executed by Snoke for an error like that. Yeah, you know.
And again,
she didn't do anything.
But again, she's supposed to be prominent in the next movie. Yeah.
Well, hopefully she's a little bit more badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, because
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
kept waiting for her to fight back.
She got owned by Finn in that one.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you got any other.
The person that kind of surprised me the most, honestly, was the performance of Brendan Gleeson as General Hux. I didn't know he'd be that big of a role in the film.
I think it's
Domhnall. What did I say? Brendan Gleeson?
Not Brendan.
Yeah, that's his father.
Gleeson.
That's his father. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Who's a great actor.
Yes, he is a great actor. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you. Domhnall Gleeson. Thank you. Was pretty good as Hux because he gave me reminded me a lot of Tarkin, but
yeah, totally.
You know, I obviously had those inspirations, but he just had that very old-fashioned British villain-esque about him, where he just kind of that smug look on his face, and his speech that he gave on Starkiller Base.
Yeah,
you know, convinced me a little bit. Like, it was like crazy. You know, also that was like he was so passionate. Yeah, so passionate. But and then also that speech is like, because it took me again, like going back to earlier, like it took me a couple times to listen to it to really get a little more information about exactly what they're destroying. Because in that is where he says like the Republic's going to be gone, their Armada, whatever, is going to be gone. So I hope we get more of him. I hope he becomes even bigger of a role. I hope he doesn't take a back seat, because he seems like I love the dynamic between him and Kylo as like these battling brothers in a way, vying for the affection of Snoke.
Yeah.
Like, I'll do it. No, I'll do it. No, I'll do it. And then like, so I hope that comes more into play. But I mean, I'm okay if it doesn't, but it would be exciting to see.
Yep. Okay, man. So last thing before I let you go, Rains, I got to know, because I asked, like I said, I asked the guys this because I was interested in hearing what they'd say. But so with all the success of this movie, are you Are you more hyped to see Episode 8 or Rogue One?
I'm totally Episode 8. Like, Episode 8's what I want to see.
Yeah.
I think I'm just really excited for the director of that film. I really like J.J. Abrams. I mean, again, I like, not that J.J. Abrams is going to listen to this podcast, but like all of my criticisms should be, taken with a grain of salt. Like, I mean, the guy's like this super great, super successful filmmaker. I mean, I don't think he's ever made a bad movie. He's just super good. But I do think Rian Johnson is a little bit more visionary when it comes to science fiction.
Yeah.
I think he maybe is a little bit more risky in his storytelling. I really am excited to see what he'll bring. So I'm very, very excited for Episode 8. Rogue One, I will definitely go see it, but I'm not, it's a spinoff, and I kind of feel spinoff feelings about it. Like, oh, sure, I'll go see the spinoff, but it's not the trilogy, so I'm actually hoping that it doesn't, like, we'll see. I mean, Marvel's done such a good job with having so many movies come out in such a tight time frame, and they still are all very financially successful. But you did see a fall off, with Age of Ultron. Now, granted, I think Age of Ultron was not as good of a movie as the first Avengers,
right.
nor did I think it was anywhere near as good as Winter Soldier or Guardians of the Galaxy. By the way, Twin, you've seen Civil War, right? Oh, yeah, we've talked about that. Okay, yeah, right. But I thought those were, just two great Marvel movies, and then Age of Ultron wasn't as good. So I'm just hoping they don't flood the marketplace with so much Star Wars that by the time 8 and 9 come out, people are kind of like fatigued and, not as excited. But
I'll be honest, I'm not sure a majority of the Star Wars community really knows or even is thinking about Rogue One yet. Because we haven't seen anything yet.
I mean,
Does anyone know how much money they've spent? How much money was the budget for that one?
Rogue One? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can find out. But
yeah, it's probably on IMDb or Box Office Mojo or whatever.
And just today they released a new... No, that was for another movie, actually. Sorry, but they've been releasing some news from Rogue One, like a little bit of character names and whatnot. But
I mean, it's filmed, right? Like, aren't they done with principal
I
photography?
think they're still working on it. I think
it's done. I think it ended towards the end of last year. Production budget. Let's see. Box Office Mojo doesn't say. They don't know yet.
So IMDb might have it.
I'm assuming it's a lot less. I'm assuming it's probably maybe 100, 120. Even though I know that says a lot less, but I think that's Force Awakens was 200, so I think half that.
And with
probably,
marketing, it was probably 300.
Oh, it was. I think they said they spent like close to $500 million on Star Wars Force Awakens with everything.
Well, they got it back.
Oh God, yeah, and then some.
Well, and the merchandising alone, they say. I mean, the merchandising alone is going to be billions of dollars. They're saying just in merchandising. But it's sort of like if you look at it like if Rogue One is going to be like the Ant-Man, because I saw Ant-Man this year, and it was a good movie. It was super funny. It was very watchable. It was enjoyable, and it made like $350 or $400 million or whatever. Which is nothing compared to like the bigger boys, like what an Iron Man will make or Civil War is going to make. So I feel like if it's like that and it's just like this enjoyable thing that the diehards go for, great. Like I said, I just don't want there to necessarily be Star Wars fatigue to, take away from the excitement of, a couple years from now when Episode 8 comes out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. Anything else you need or want to add?
No, I always love coming on. I appreciate you guys having me. I always like talking about Star Wars. I will go see it again, so I'll see it the minimum, I think, fan required third time. And I'm excited for Episode 8, and Appreciate you guys, and hopefully I'll be back in person before too long.
Yes, you got to make it back this way. I mean, I'm sure we'll find our way maybe out west some point, especially if
that's a much better plan because remember it's warmer here plus the beach.
Well, hopefully Celebration comes back there in a couple years because we'll definitely be there for that. All right, man. Well, appreciate you all coming on the show and offering your expertise.
for whatever it's worth.
Oh, come on.
For whatever
Come
it's
on,
worth.
man.
Come
on, man. All right, so thanks, Rains. We will talk to you soon, I'm sure, when we get to, I definitely, especially on the other podcast, we'll get, because I know you see the movies like we do. A ton of comic book movies are coming out this year, especially beginning with Batman, Superman here in a couple months.
I don't know.
You're one of those.
Okay, so maybe I won't have you on the show.
I have my doubts. I
don't,
doubts.
man. I freaking can't wait for that now. Now that Star Wars is behind me, that's the next one. I'm stoked.
It could be awful.
I do have worries, but I think
I have serious worries, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is not the show for that.
It's just risky. Yeah.
All right, so thanks, Rains. We'll catch up with you soon, and take care out there in Big Cali.
Later, guys.
Later, buddy. All right, that was our buddy Mat Raney over in SoCal. I can't remember my password on IMDb. That's why I'm not.
I couldn't see it on IMDb.
So anyway, real quick before we wrap up, just want to kind of go over a little bit about some quick news real fast. One good thing about what came out about episode 7 today, I think it was written by Pablo too, wasn't it? About who that stormtrooper was that everybody's going crazy for. They're calling him TR-8R because it's traitor, right? Traitor. Yep. But the actual traitor stormtrooper does have a call sign, which is FN2199.
Yeah.
And I think I talked about it on here, right?
Yeah, we did.
That one of the guys in the book in his fire squad was 2199, which they called Nines. Right. And that was him. And so he would know what Finn looked like, and that's why he calls him traitor there. Right. So there, like I said, there's three other ones in his fire squad. Nines, who that is, Zeros, which we haven't seen him or find out where he's at, and then there was Slip, who was the one that got shot,
right, and
slid the blood on his face and whatnot. So I thought that was pretty cool. That's a little article on StarWars.com. You can read about that. And then the other thing is the Rogue One news. Have you seen this at all?
The character names,
the character, and kind of the somewhat semi-pseudo plot that's kind of floating around there.
I've not seen that part.
Okay, so I know you're not really up for spoilers, but this isn't really a spoiler.
Yeah, it's a little plot summary. It's fine.
I want to look it up here. Here's, where is it? Where is it? I just had it, and I'm not finding it. So here we go. All right, so rumored plot details for Star Wars or for Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Yeah, it's like a
oh my gosh, my thing just died.
Where were you? What was the source? Was this IMDb?
No, it was on Comic Book Movie.
Ew. Let me see if I can quickly find it. For some reason, my iPad's not being as responsive as I want it to be.
All right, we're falling apart here.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Comic Book Movie. Here we go. Can't talk. Can't do high pitched sounds. Dang it.
Yeah, there's an article somewhere down there. But anyway, Felicity Jones, it kind of explains how she's involved in it. While you're looking that up, I know they did say that we were more than likely, which we actually said I think on the show, we were more than likely to get a trailer on
Civil War.
Civil War.
Yep.
Which makes sense, obviously, Marvel, Disney, and then it being about, from that point, it'd be about 7 months away.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy to think we're less than a year away from Rogue One.
Yes.
And we're less than a year and a half from Episode 8.
Less than a year and a half from Episode 8. That's the craziest part to me. Because, we're so used to 3-year gaps with... okay, here we go. I
think I just found it too.
All right, so this came from MakingStarWars.net. Mads Mikkelsen, who is the character name, or no, I'm sorry, that's the actor's name. Galen is his name in the film. Is kind of the key to the film in a way. He is a scientist that took over the Geonosian Death Star project. He solved several of the flaws the Empire could not, and is sort of a revered person in the Empire for his contributions. However, Mikkelsen's character is a Robert Oppenheimer type character, which I'm not sure I know what that is.
I heard of the name.
Oppenheimer helped design. He helped design the atomic bomb.
Yeah.
Only to say, now I became Death, the destroyer of worlds. So the guilt that Galen feels for his contributions to the Empire became too much for him, and he defects, attempting to make things right. In order to do this, he enlists the help of his only daughter, who is Felicity Jones.
Felicity Jones.
So
that's interesting. I never heard anything about that.
No,
never even considered that guy.
Very, very interesting.
So the guy who creates the Death Star defects.
Yep, because he's realizing what he's finally realizing what he's destroyed.
This is a Death Star.
Oh wait,
it's not a shopping mall.
Billions of people. Exactly. I was making detours, man. Yeah. Realizing that billions of people are going to die because of him. Yes, he decides to help the rebels somehow. So that's another thing too. I guess he defects without thinking about stealing the plans first.
Yeah.
So then he goes and makes them go back and steal the plans.
Yeah. Interesting because I always assume that the actor Mads Mikkelsen will be a villain because he usually plays a villain. He plays Hannibal in the TV show right now. So that's interesting. So he's actually going to be kind of a good guy. Excuse me. Very cool.
Very cool.
Still waiting on some character names. They released a couple different names, like I can't remember. It's like Bodhi is one of the character names, and one of the Asian character names, and then one of the guys is a rebel pilot, and his name is Gold 9, I believe. So nothing too crazy revealed, but pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'm in IMDb Pro here for Rogue One, and I'm not seeing any kind of budget listed yet. So not sure anybody knows yet how much they spent on the movie. So, all right. So anyway, I really besides that, that's kind of. I just want to say, I'm stoked for Rogue One.
I am pretty excited.
I am really stoked. I think I'm ready to see that. To be honest, what's weird, then Episode 8. Just because I know we're getting Episode 8 shortly after. Mm-hmm. But I'm actually just really highly interested in seeing something that's not the episodic series.
I think a lot of people are, but they maybe because I think right now a lot of people realize we're getting a spinoff. Honestly,
correct.
And I think I'm hearing people wanting to see something different outside the Skywalker saga. Mm-hmm. But I don't think they know they're going to get it.
I don't think they do either. I don't think a lot. Obviously, everybody in our type of love and
our circle,
in our just deep understanding of what they're doing.
Yeah.
We see this every day, so we know what's coming. But I think the average person that loves Star Wars, like I got several of them that are in the office that I work with, they keep, when are we getting that? Oh, this year? It's like, so, they have to be reminded that another Star Wars movie is coming that's not Episode 8. But I really think once a trailer hits, I think people are going to be like, whoa, this is a Star Wars movie? Because I think it's going to look like nothing we've seen.
Yeah.
Nothing.
That first photo they released of the cast sold me. And that teaser.
Well, hell, just that little teaser that's not even part of the movie.
Yeah, it's just digital
digital creation of the Death
That
Star
was
kind of in the
fantastic.
atmosphere. Awesome.
Honestly, it could have just been that audio that they played.
the audio.
I think that would have sold me
the
too.
war kind of that's going on,
that,
the battle.
in and out, calmly kind of
Yes.
thing. But the Death Star in the background, that one shot was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and you got Obi-Wan's voice, Alec Guinness. I mean, and there is rumors, which we've talked about Vader being in the movie.
Vader and some good bounty hunters.
Yes. Oh my! I mean, come on.
If we see Cad Bane, I will flip.
I will too.
I will find a table and flip.
I mean, I do believe if Vader's in there, and I do believe if bounty hunters are in there, I gotta believe that Boba Fett is going to be in there,
right?
And I gotta believe if there's rumors are true that maybe a Cad Bane, that would be phenomenal.
Gosh, that's so cool. So
anyway, we got a lot to talk about this year as far as Rebels, as far as possible. Books, but possible other spin-off shows that are going to happen. I mean, I know there's a lot of talk now that I think I just read too that I think Netflix, starting in 2016, now owns full distribution rights now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the movies will probably show up on Netflix.
Absolutely.
I'm super excited if we start hearing any rumblings about a Netflix TV series.
It's bound to happen.
It's bound to happen. Totally, absolutely. But see, again, 3 or 4 years ago when there was that rumbling of a live action television show that Lucasfilm was working on, was working on, you thought, oh man, we're finally going to see some live action that's not part of the 6 saga episodes, So that's what I'm saying. Like this is what Rogue One feels like now. It's like, okay, it's something live action from Star Wars that's not animated and not part of the episodic movies. It doesn't contain any characters that we know, at least on the hero side.
Yeah. Probably not any Jedi, most likely. I think that's been said.
And there's definitely no. But here's the thing: is
Force users.
Well, does Kanan show up at all? Does Ezra show? Because they're possibly alive on that time. We don't know. Maybe they're dead by that time. I don't know, or in hiding. But I don't know. There's unfortunately, I think someone asked me at the office if Ahsoka is going to be there, but unfortunately, I think she's going to not survive.
Yeah.
Rebels.
I don't think so.
So anyway, you got anything else? I think
that's pretty much it.
That's just
Star Wars.
The show.
We've said during talking with Reigns, Force Awakens is officially the highest grossing movie of all time in America.
Domestically. Yeah. It is
764 million.
Yep.
As a box office mojo right now.
I hope. I don't think it will, but it'd be awesome if it can get to $1 billion domestically. But it's going to be very difficult.
if it
does a re-release later, maybe.
Yeah, if it had the extended time that like Titanic had.
Well, Titanic was re-released as well too. So
yeah.
I don't know. It probably didn't make as much obviously on the re-release, but it did get re-released like an anniversary thing or something like that, which counts towards that. But this, I think it'll become the number one movie once all the other countries get it and add to the total, because I think it's over $1.5 billion right now.
Its opening
worldwide
day alone, it beats the record by several million.
Oh yeah,
like several tens of millions of dollars. Like that's gonna be hard to beat Force Awakens.
I agree. And off the top of my head right now, I can't say I don't see any way, even though there's going to be so much hype for Episode 8. I don't think Episode 8 will come close.
I don't think it will.
I mean, I think it'll become top 10 easily.
Unless we just see some crazy awesome stuff.
Well, that's true too. I mean, that's true.
We see Luke Skywalker in the trailer fighting.
But what's crazy is that I might have to look this up, but the least grossing movies of the Star Wars saga are Empire and Jedi. They're the least grossing movies.
Although, like Jedi, I think due to inflation, is up there.
Maybe, but
I think it's pretty.
As far as
that's The New Hope is like number 2.
Yeah, A New Hope is way up there.
But yeah,
and then Episode 3 I think is up there, and then 1, and then 2, and Episode 1 made a ton of money because Episode 1 for a while was like top 5.
Yeah, I remember that got. I remember a preview of that saying we're going to extend the theater run by like 2 weeks or something like that. You have 2 more weeks to see it. It's pretty cool.
So anyway, but we'll wrap this up real quick, and well, check us out next week when we dive more into kind of. I think next week we'll definitely start talking a little bit more about Rebels coming back. Mm-hmm. You're not even caught up totally, are you?
I think
Rebels?
Like 1 or 2 episodes behind.
Yeah, we'll get you caught up on the books too. I'm gonna do some reading over the weekend, some major reading. I got a lot of comics to catch up on. And I'm gonna finish some book reading too. I'm halfway through that Before the Awakenings. I'm almost done with Ray's storyline. I want to read Poe's. So got some reading to do. And unfortunately, it's playoff football this weekend too. So he's gonna find some time. All right. So thanks to Rains for jumping on here and kind of giving us. We're gonna get some more opinions on here. Check us out at InsideTheForce.com, at Inside the Force, Twitter and Facebook. We appreciate everybody that's out there. I appreciate the comments too, and we appreciate you guys reaching out and asking for our opinions. Of course, you can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, or right there on the website. All the shows are listed right there at the website. He's Kryptonian1138, of course, on Twitter and on Battlefront.
Yes.
I am D Cottingham 21 on Twitter, but I'm producer 21 on Xbox. That's the only one I didn't change. I didn't want my last name on there. I wanted to be producer.
Yeah. It's the producer.
Yeah, and it's funny. I remember when I first started playing Xbox and chose that. And when you're kind of talking to a lot of people ahead, and they're like, "Producer, get over here, producer." Yeah, I liked it.
Say, but see now Xbox, I don't think you can do like just big group chats.
You can't. I think you have to. I think you can only invite people to a party or something like that.
Because I want people to be like, Kryptonian, get over here.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I used to have my older name was Death Man is Dead, which
yes,
is a reference to Mystery Men.
Yes.
And I remember people making fun of that, like, Death Man, yeah, you are dead. Like, they like killed me.
Oh, man.
Like, yeah, I got to change it.
Kryptonian 1-3 is pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we appreciate it. Like I said, I can't say enough. Thanks for listening to the show. Leave us some comments. Let us know how you feel about Star Wars The Force Awakens, as well as just the state of Star Wars in general. I think all things are good, and everything's going well. And because of that, we're going to keep doing this show passionately.
Yes.
So thank you. I guess we're going to do for Casey Cooley.
Your son is gone. He was weak and foolish like his father, so I destroyed him.
Nice. Already. Force Awakens.
I'm doing it, man.
Love it.
And just, yeah, that's good.
I love it.
He's good.
Again, a quick reminder, too, on our YouTube channel, we've got commentaries for the first 5 films that are up there. I've got all of them up there, 1 through 5. We're going to be recording Return of the Jedis here soon and getting that up there. And then I'm still working on some trailers for kind of our devotion to the movies and the kind of the echoing Force Awakens and stuff like that. So love doing that stuff. Anyway, appreciate it, guys. He's Casey.
Goodbye, everybody.
I'm David Cottingham, and may the Force be with you.
This has been a production of the 21 Network. For more great podcasts, visit 21network.com. To view additional content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/21network. Follow us on Twitter at 21network for the latest news and updates. The 21 Network, for the fan and all of us.